Hold out your arm, Quinn.
Why, man? Because they're like all better.
Hold out your arm.
The movie Blade tried to let us know everything that we need to know about Deacon Frost when he told Quinn to hold out his arm. But while watching it, I just kept asking myself, why is he so important? Like, from what I could tell, he was just another vampire. How does he have a gang of people willing to die for him? What did he do to earn that level of loyalty? Even when the leaders of the vampire nation summon him, he's talking straight cash money to them.
You know our policy. Your policy, not mine.
How is it that pure-blooded vampires allow him to talk to them like this? After the movie was over, I read up on Deacon Frost and there was no help because he's so different from the comic books. Honestly, they can't even be considered the same character. But it didn't click for me until I watched the deleted scenes, because Frost ain't no regular guy. He's head of one of the most powerful mafias in the vampire nation. Not only that, but I'll stand 10 toes with anyone and say that he was absolutely justified to use the power of La Magra in order to dismantle the nation. Let me cook, cause y'all don't hear me. To understand his status in the world, I gotta give y'all proper context as to why he's so important. Within any organization, there's a socio-economic hierarchy of people that push products and services in order to generate wealth. Frost does this same thing, but for vampires. They have to feed, and he services this need by creating infrastructure which harvests humans like cattle in order to sell our blood through various channels within that infrastructure. Something that no one in the nation did before him. Think about the blood banks, hospitals, the meat packing facilities, the nightclubs. All that and more is within his portfolio because he's the first vampire to utilize blood as a commodity, just like gold, just like oil, except he owns the monopoly. After Frost stepped on the block, vampires didn't have to hide in the shadows and feed on people like rats in an alley. Think about going to the grocery store and picking up a kilo of beef. All you gotta do is bust the pack open, season your meat, and cook it how you want it. This is what he did for vampires. He created institutions that separated the effort and violence from feeding on humans. Sure, they did it, but you didn't have to. This, in return, netted him a fortune that I can't calculate. I mean, look at his house. Top floor in the middle of Manhattan with the pool. He's not supposed to be throwing hands in the street. He sits in the office and moves pieces on the board like a boss. Now, learning this triggered a thought. Just because he got money, that doesn't automatically mean that he can command as much respect as he does. But that only emphasizes my fundamental misunderstanding of him. Think about the average vampire before Frost entered the scene. Life was trash. You can't blend into society. You gotta feed on humans. And you got gangs of vampire hunters constantly looking to rip your head off. Unless you were Dracula, you're gonna have a terrible life. But now Frost comes along and he gives them careers, safety, and community. And that's why people respect him, not because he's rich, but because he revolutionized vampire society. The best way that I can contextualize his status is to tell y'all don't think of him as Big Meech or Pablo Escobar because they don't compare. Frost is only comparable to Julius Caesar. You have to compare him to other revolutionary figures that transformed entire societies, because without him, the vampire nation might not be a nation. Of course, he inspires all this faith. He would be someone you revere. If he asked you, you would give your arm for him to chop off too, especially if you knew it would grow back.
Just kidding.
In a room full of ancient vampire lords, he doesn't stand with them as equals. He stands above them because he did something that they never thought about doing in thousands of years, and they hate him for it. Top 5 of all time haters of the year for 3 centuries in a row. They want him to respect the old ways, and he said nah. He's disgusted with the old ways, and he hates the fact that they make deals with their food. And in a way, he's right. But he can't do anything about it because if war breaks out, humans would just win by exploiting vampire weaknesses, and he can't change the way the Shadow Order governs the vampire nation. Frost is a visionary because he has the audacity to imagine a world where vampires live out in the open, in the daylight, at the top of the food chain, without competition or threats of violence from the humans. He wanted to live in a world that makes sense, and with the power of La Magra, he could turn the world into a vampire's Garden of Eden. He wanted to liberate vampires by ripping the world away from the hands of the humans. He wanted them to thrive, but the film never gave Frost the villain arc that he deserved. Sure, his methods are brutal, and the ethics of human farms are complicated. But humans kill hundreds of millions of cows for food every single year. Don't even talk about the billions of chickens that go to waste. But now it ain't fun because the rabbit got the gun. I'm not here to argue the idea that Frost was a hero. What I'm saying is that he wasn't crazy. He wasn't insane. He saw a broken system and he wanted it to evolve. And in my view, I believe that this movie accidentally created one of the most interesting villains in Marvel and they fumbled it. Was that statement too strong? But y'all get where I'm coming from. No. Y'all get it. But if you want more videos like this, just follow the channel because I got so many more ideas to talk about. Until then, I'm Tyreek, and this is The Cut.